Okay, so this is part 2 of the updated Python for Maya. So far in the project, we have the ability to print out a statement and hold a value inside of a variable using a random number. So inside of Maya, I've imported this cube that I textured as a die. So it's going to be the die that we want. And basically, say I rotated this 180 degrees. We want to be able to get, when we randomize a value here, which we're doing right here, 16615, we get a random value. I want this cube to orient itself to be facing the number that is randomized. So let's take a look at how to do that. First thing that we're going to want to import is Maya commands. So that's another library that has a whole bunch of functions that will translate Maya commands into Python so that we can use it. So import maya.cmds, and let's try doing the one. So another thing that we're going to need now that actually I'll do it at the end of this. Now that we need to have different conditions being met to create the rotation that we need, we're going to start if statements. But let's look at the Maya command first, and then we'll put it within an if statement. So it's going to be maya.cmds and then we put the command. It is going to be set adder, which is to change an attribute on a specific object in the scene. And if we go back into Maya, we can see when we rotated the dice, it gave us the mel command here to get it. So set adder, and then the name of the attribute that we want to change, and then the value, which is pretty similar to what we're going to be doing in Python. So here we use the set adder command. We called our object d6, so we have the d6, and then dot and then the attribute we want to change. In this case, rotate z, and then we can put a comma and put a 0 here. So that's the value that we want to change it to. So let's copy this and paste it in here. And make sure that I copy it correctly. I use the wrong key. Let's try that again. Paste. There we go. So if I run this right now, rotate Z gets to 0. If we wanted it to flip around and go to the opposite, we can change that and it goes to 1. Obviously, this isn't matching with what is actually been rolled, but that we'll adjust that right now. So here we have the rotation and the value and everything. Something that we can do that will make a life a lot easier, because this is quite a lot of code to write every time we want to use a Maya command. We can shorten this. So we can type in the command as MC on the same line as the import. So we're importing maya.cmds as MC. So we can shorten all of this down to mc.setAdder. So let's look at it here. We run this, and it goes back the other way, which is exactly what we want. Okay, so let's talk about if statements. If is a condition that we can meet in order to run something that we're working with inside of the code. So we can set conditions so that way a code is only ran if a certain condition is met. In this case, we want that condition to be the die roll and whatever a specific value is. So if die roll is equal to 1, then we can put a colon, which will tell us that we are done with that line, and then I'm going to indent, which is 4 spaces. So let's copy this here and paste it and run this. 6, 6. Oh, let's make this 180 because it shouldn't be 0. So whenever it gets to a 1, it should get us to be rotated. Run this a few more times until we get a 1. There we go. So once we got 1, it rotated itself back to showing the 1 on top. This is great. We just need to now adjust the settings here so that way we can meet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There will be a little bit of issues because let's say we were let's not do that one, let's do this one. So if we were at 4 and then we met this argument here and we rolled it to 180, it doesn't change because we have the 90 here and it still gets it with the 180. So we're only changing one attribute. We should change all 3 rotations. So let's do that in our command. Let's change this here to 180. And I am going to copy this, paste it a couple more times, and indent it. There we go. And the difference that we're going to have here is going to be rotate X and rotate Y. So we have X, Y, and Z. And then we also want to make sure that the other 2 attributes are 0. So this way, when we rotate the die, it should rotate only to this specific condition. So no matter what the other rotations are, it will always 0 it out to get back to 180. So I'm going to copy all this and paste it right afterwards. And here, I'm going to adjust for 6 because that is kind of my default position where 6 is on top. And I know that's with 0 rotation, so we have 2 values there. So let's look at what else we can set it to. So let's look at -90, which is 270. That should be perfectly flat. Yeah, so at 270, I have a 2, which is rotated from Z. So let's take a look at doing the command for 2. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. And this is going to be for the condition of if die roll equals 2. And this is going to be 270. Great. So let's find the 3 and what rotations are required to achieve that. So Here, I'm going to zero it out, and the 3 should be opposite of 4, which will be 90 degrees in the x with 0 and 0 on the y and z. So 90 and 0 and 0. 4 is opposite of 3, so I can do, if we get a result of 4, it is going to be 270. And that means that we're only missing the 5, which is opposite of 2, which means it would be 90 on the z. So let's just throw that in there right now. So we can take this and put it at 5 and 0 on the x, but 90 on the z. So let's copy all of this and paste it in here. So 4, 6, 1, 2, 4, 6, 5. Looks like we got all the numbers correct, and we can see that each time we rolled the die, it gave us a new random number, and it rotated the die in a different orientation. Great. So let's end this lesson here now that we got that working, and we'll see you guys in the next one.